Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And how are you all this evening?
Glad to be here. Feeling
It's
the
very,
effects of, of something.
well, yeah, sometimes that is what happens.
And I think I'm basically doing too much on the Saturdays.
Yeah,
And so, and it's physical work. And then I go into bed all 2 o'clock in the
okay,
morning. So when Monday rolls around, you just feel like you didn't get a weekend at all.
yeah, understood.
GP6.
Totally understood. So, how was your week?
How was your week? The week was good.
Okay,
The week was good. It provided opportunities to practice things, to observe, to do a little bit of observing,
mm-hmm.
and to identify where you can make changes, where you can make changes, nice changes, where you yourself want to do something differently.
Mm-hmm.
Not when, life gives you a slap and forces you to have to make a change.
Yeah,
So the week was, yes, and the weekend ended really nicely, even though I'm complaining about tiredness now. I got a lot of things on my list ticked off, but that was good.
okay. Anyone else? How was your week this week? Or is everyone tired as well?
I would agree with the tired.
Okay,
But I don't know. It's been a good week. I can't think of anything that really, sometimes you go through things and it's like, oh my God, you have this situation, you have that situation. I might have had situations, but the way I handled it was totally different, I think. So that makes it easier.
okay. Very good to note. So you can safely say that the utilization of the tools, well, at least remembering to utilize the tools is becoming a lot easier. Yes?
Yeah, it is. But I think part of it too is being really mindful, present, and consistent too.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I think it's kind of coming, not second nature, but almost like, okay, you might have a negative thought, but then you have something, one of the tools pop up to combat whatever. But I think it's really just applying it, being present, being mindful,
Yeah.
and recognizing it for what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then just making other choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that is really it, making a different choice in the moment. Because once you are able to do that, you see things tend to get a lot clearer and you function with a lot less confusion and all of that and overthinking, and things get a lot simpler. So even if you make a choice and things don't turn out how is you think it's meant to turn out, you learn the lesson and you move on. You don't even stay there for long. And therein really lies the difference. Anyone else? How was your week this week? Anastasia, are you there?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. And how was your week this week?
A good week. A learning week. Yeah. And I want to tell you that we like your hairstyle.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I had to get rid of the braids for a little bit. All right. So I know that today's topic is a very introspective topic because you really have to focus on yourself, your patterns, your choices, your thoughts. Because tonight's topic is stop attracting the same experiences. And even for yourself, what are some of these same experiences that you have been attracting over and over again? Nobody? So everybody stop attracting the same thing?
I think it's just, yeah, I have to think about it. It's that's what it's so kind of different now that you have the tools and you remember to utilize the tools. So now you have to think about what it was that I was really attracted that I don't know. I have to think about that one.
Or something that you really want and it's not coming.
A husband, but oh God, that is a hard one.
Well, then you might be at
The tools for that in come to the forefront. Yeah.
So then why are you still attracting the husband not being there? So then that is one. Do you understand?
Yeah, but just sometimes I think you get to the point where it's like you don't miss it, you don't think about it, but then there's other times when you're like, yeah, okay, I could do with the company. So it's not something like you're like this for me, like you focus on, and place a lot of energy and emphasis on it. Because it's like, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing. But then there's certain times when you're like, oh yeah, I could deal with, the company to go hang out or to,
Okay, understood. Yes, Catherine, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Well, I'm going to be laughing on this one. Lisa, girl. When you say in the same boat and barrel, and but in all seriousness, it's only when you raise that particular example, Adana, that I say, that might be one. But staying on that topic, this week in particular, I found myself questioning myself. And it wasn't so much as to whether I wanted that. I was looking around at so many, and they always say, keep your eye on your own business. Keep your eye on your own business. Because any little doubt could send whatever you want further away. And I found myself asking, well, not so much asking the question, but noticing something. And I found myself telling myself, girl, you look like you're the only person who looking for a husband. Everybody else that you could think of in your circle, they look at me like if I'm some kind of 10-headed monster. What? Yeah, and then they want to share their sad and foolish stories about what they heard, how so-and-so living much better now that they divorced their husband. And I ask myself, first of all, already have the problem with the 3-10 foolishness. And I said to myself, but where do we get the idea that you live to a certain age and after that you're supposed to be picking out your caskets. Check out the lining, get the color right. You're supposed to be going and find the priest who will do the service. What is this? What is this? What is this? Determination. But yet I found myself saying, well, Gail, you must be odd because you still want this kind of experience. And so many people there to tell you, don't do that. Don't, and so the experience really, and I was laughing even more so is when Lisa said, you know, I could deal with that. Lisa, nobody is coming home to meet us. We have to go out. We just have to go out. Do not assume we're going to meet somebody on the job. If you're not working in a public space, you have to go out. We have to go on the beach. We have to do things. And then when we go out, we have to look friendly. Not overly friendly, but we have to have a welcoming energy. We can't be looking face all scrunched up and nobody's going to tell us good morning or good afternoon. So, and I'm saying that for myself because sometimes we could be rushing we're so in our own world. We don't realize that we are not warm. In our minds, we are warm on the inside. We know we are warm people, we are kind people, we are this people, we are that people, we're loving and caring. But it's almost like self-protecting when you walk the street or when you go out. And so that is one thing that keeps us that keeps us having the same experience of being out of the relationships that we want. Yes?
Yes.
But keep at it. I speak to myself. Yes. And the other thing, there is no such thing, you know, I'm the image consultant, so I'll tell us flat. What is this old granny clothes we're wearing? No. Every 5 years, check your wardrobe. Every 5 years, every 3 years, check your hairstyle. If you always wear one color lipstick, try another lipstick. You don't wear lipstick, try some lipstick. Tell yourself you're living to 120. And that would and we're talking to those who are interested in relationships here. Yes. But a little show outside from time to time. Do not keep covering up yourself. One of the things is that men are very visual. They are visual creatures. They're not too highly gentlemen on the line. And no offense meant, but you know, you're visual. So that's one of the ways and my thing about repeating the same experience. So I've been working on my energy when I go out, not being so uptight. Then the other thing is to go out. You have to go out. You have to leave the house.
Yes, most definitely. Anastasia, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, Catherine, thank you for all the advice. It is not you alone looking and waiting for that husband. I am in that too as well. And tonight I watch you when you come on and say, well, like you have a date after we finish here. I'm not hearing you.
I say I'm having a date with myself. You have to send out the energy. You have to
Okay.
put on music
All
and
right.
dance.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And yeah, people really will make it seem as if, well, here, what you should give up on that dream. But I decide not giving up on it. And one of the things that has kept me not giving up on it is that, yes, you have all these things that you just hear about men, but it also have the good ones in the midst. And I try to focus on the good ones, the good relationships. You know, the men that you see and they dear, they're present, they doing what they have to do. I put my focus on that. And I remember somebody telling me once, he say, listen, people will come around here, you know. He said, because you have a nice personality, so people will come. But you know what? You have to know what you want. And if who come is not what you want, you just leave them alone. And you continue waiting. And you hold your dream in your heart and believe that, yeah, what, one day it will come true.
Yes. Yes. Most definitely. Lisa, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Like Catherine was saying, I'm not saying you're dressed in rags. You look presentable. But I think in terms of dressing and how you're dressing is based on how comfortable you are wearing certain things. Because there are some people who are covered and they still find men that are attracted to them because they're covered. So I think that's a personal thing in terms of how you want to dress and what makes you comfortable, with you wearing what you're wearing. The other thing is, I agree that you have to go out and meet people, but I don't think that you necessarily have to be out to meet someone. Because you might have friends that might know someone and could introduce you to someone. So I think it's not, you don't have to be out and you don't have to dress any particular kind of ways, whatever you feel comfortable, because the person that you are attracting is somebody who would be comfortable with you no matter, how you dress. So that was just my take on it.
Okay. Catherine, I'm seeing you have your hand raised again.
Yeah, I'll go the last one first. You can't be covered. You make a valid point. It's how you are comfortable. But one of the things we do not recognize is how quickly our wardrobe becomes dated. We don't realize that. And so you may think that your appearance still looks fresh. We're not discussing body outside or something that you're not comfortable with. But sometimes we don't realize we are wearing the same hairstyle 20 years now, 30 years, because it's comfortable to us. But the time has moved, the time has passed. So these are just the external little tips and changes that we have to be mindful of in terms of, particularly for everybody, but particularly for the more seasoned ladies who are looking for this kind of connection. There's a mindfulness that we must have about our wardrobe. And yes, you can have people who will introduce you, but over the last 10 years, how many people have introduced you? Work it out. How many people have your friends have said, I know she's single, he's single. Let me see if I do an introduction. So the numbers is a numbers game. So there's a greater number when we go out. So we have a nice combination of somebody will introduce us. And the other thing, do we let even people know that how does conversation turn into a relationship?
Well, it is in the lane of stop attracting the same experiences.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So and this is just my 2 cents, but essentially it is everything goes towards the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if the energy is dated, that comes from within us. That is coming from within, because we are projecting inside out. And the relationship we're looking for is the relationship we're looking for with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else but us. And so if you are saying I want somebody who's lively and energetic and this and that, then we have to be that. And I recognize just yesterday I was looking at myself and I was saying, you haven't really gone to the beach in a while. You haven't done anything. The weekend comes and you find you're going back into the habits of finding projects to do in the house as opposed to going out. Even if you go out for 2 hours, you go with something, let the breeze blow on you a little bit. So it's little bits of comfort that we end up falling back into. And
Familiar
therefore,
patterns.
yes. So we don't realize when we slip back into that.
Mhm.
And those things, at least for me, I try to work on those things. So keep an eye out on them. I had somebody go on Friday, and by the time I left the office on Friday, I already knew I wasn't going. I wasn't going because I was feeling tired. But then again, when I looked on the other side of it, I said, Catherine, that is another thing that you are now changing and making a different choice. Because before, I would have said, I have to go. I have to go. People, and the host kept sending me WhatsApp, telling me, people will miss you if you're not there. People will miss you. And I'm saying to myself, no, people will notice I probably did not attend, but there's nobody going home grieving over the fact that I did not attend. I'm exhausted and I'm going to rest myself. I'm
Yeah.
not going to that event. And she said, we'll tolerate if you come late. We'll tolerate if you come late. I just put down the phone and I went to sleep. So that is another thing that I've worked on this week so that I don't feel like you have to impress, that you have to be there, which is something I would have done a few years ago. You have to be there because others are going to be there. And look, they're bigging you up. They're bigging you up. If you're not there, people will. No, if you're not there, you're not there. No.
Yeah.
So that was also another little win for me in my column this week, that I didn't fall victim again to what I would consider my ego needing to get a little loving up, go out even when you're tired. No, I'm tired. I'm learning that now. I'm tired.
Yeah. For sure, because a lot of times, as we speak on the topic as it relates to stop attracting the same experiences, a lot of times we tend to attract the same thing showing up in different forms. So different people, different places, different circumstances, yet somehow the outcomes feel strangely familiar.
Mhm.
And the patterns we experience in life are often rooted not in luck or coincidence, but in our beliefs, emotional habits, expectations, and unconscious responses. Unconscious responses includes body language as well. Please remember that. So until we become aware of these internal patterns, we often recreate the very experiences we are trying to escape. Hint, hint for the very long um, discussion we were just having. So let me just repeat that as well. Until we become aware of these internal patterns, we often recreate the very experiences we are trying to escape. What are you? Well, we know some of it, but even if you think more, what are you recreating that you are currently trying to escape within your world right now, other than the husband aspect? It could be money, it could be lack of funds, it could be exercise, starting or even being consistent with it. It could be being more outgoing, or it could be some of us, we want to go back to school, but it is becoming a little bit difficult. So, what have you been recreating?
Recently, I've noticed I've gone back again into concerning myself about how my family thinks.
Mhm.
their feelings about things and looking for diplomatic ways or ways where everybody could win and everything will work out in this utopian fashion. And I had to identify that one as well and say, this is what it is. Don't try to make it romantic and whatnot. If this is a situation that you're facing and you need to say something, say something. Do not try to say, well, if you say this, this person will be upset, or if you do this, there might be some problems down the. I don't know about might be some problems. What is facing me now is facing me now, and I want to discuss it now. If something comes out of that, then so be it. But I noticed that I had gone back a little bit, sliding back into, you don't want to say anything because, and I know that comes from the programming that my mother had put in. The family is small, so keep the family together. But sometimes you just have to let go of your definition of family. You know, you're not necessarily letting go of the people, but you're letting go of your definition of family so that you're not so tied into self-sabotaging, because there's a particular situation that I'm facing now. And if I do not address it, it will certainly not work out in my favor. But I will be the one stewing and stewing and churning, because the other parties would have gone on with their lives. They would have done what they want to do and would have gone with whatever they want to go with, and I would remain stewing and stewing. So I had to recognize that about 2 weeks ago, and I said, So I got up this morning. I was supposed to have a meeting last week. I got up this morning. I sent a WhatsApp early. Are we meeting today? To this minute, I have not received a response, but it's okay, because tomorrow I can say, what time are we meeting? Because there's a discussion that must take place. And I think I put it off too long. I know it's going to have a little bit of tension, because every time I raise the occurrence, I hear a tightening of a voice and tension on the other side of the line. But it's okay, because I have learned that I need to ignore that. Everybody's entitled to the way they feel. So I cannot be putting aside what needs to be done because somebody else might have some feelings about it. And it just will be what it has to be.
Sorry about that. Do you all think that recurring patterns are often reflections of unconscious beliefs? Yes? All right. So even for those who were talking about the husband, so what is the unconscious belief that you are holding? And why are you experiencing the same thing over and over as it relates to recreating the very experiences you're trying to escape?
I think part of it is, for me, it's like the disappointment that you've had in previous relationship, the trust factor.
Mm-hmm.
So and they talk about women live. And I'm like, sometimes I feel like I don't really need all of that drama. because I can handle myself financially and all that. So it's trying to balance that off, balance that out. You know, and I think the thing is, for me, is not say sorry, saying that you want to get into a relationship with someone so that financially they're there to pull you off, financially they're there to assist. Although that's a plus. But I feel like for me is understanding what I want out of the relationship. What I really want the experience to be like. Well, I know for me, I have like trust issues, you know, whereas like people come and they show you your best at first, and then as time go on, then you really see different sides or other sides of them. But now it's trying to
I have a question essentially
implement
to that.
implement the tools and know that you are who you attract. So now I have to kind of work on me.
Yes, and even remember the person that you are today, you are not the same person you were years ago. So the energy is not even the same. So then why do you even still have that issue of trust? Because you are not even the same person.
That's the mind. You're still working on the mind to tell the mind that I'm no longer there. But you still hold on to that memory, that thought, that experience.
Yeah. So
So
you,
that
yeah, so now you can see where, in terms of, you might think you want a partner, but really, what energy are you really sending out into the universe? So that might be the reason why the universe is responding in nothing. Because you don't have a clear definition of what you really want, because you don't even trust the universe to send it. Because you don't trust yourself either. You understand?
yeah, I can understand that. I can
Yeah.
agree with that. But I think this whole woman lib thing too. It messes you up. Like I have my house, I have this, I have that, I have the other. Do I really need you? You know what I mean? But then there's the downside when you want the company, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But is what do you really want? You don't want it or you want it? You don't
Yeah.
want it or you want it?
Yeah. And you see too a lot of times, and again, this is the same thing, we're talking about in a lot of different instances where we are allowing our past experiences to affect our current life. And you see the depth of it, eh? Because again, what was required for you 10, 20 years ago is no longer required. You're not even in that space. The energy is the same. You don't even have to hold to that experience anymore because it's a totally different circumstance, a totally different energy. But the thing is, the only person that hold into the previous energy is us. We really hold into the previous energy. And that is why our return is coming back at zero, 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 because that is the previous energy that we are holding on to, not recognizing that really and truly you are no longer there. You may not even attract what you think you're going to attract, and you might attract somebody so different, so unexpected. But the thing is, you keep getting zero, it is because you're still holding to what was previous. And even as it relates to something that you don't even put much thought into, if it's trying on your restaurant, eating ice cream, going to watch a movie, you have no really expectation. A lot of times you're neutral. Why not hold that same neutral energy towards a spouse? No expectation. All you are doing, you focus on being in terms of being in the moment, being present. you know, and in being, then you would attract another being just as yourself. Because you don't want to attract a being who present in front of your face but holding on to certain things in the past as you are currently doing right now as well. Because that is what you're standing out. And that is what you are going to get. So probably the universe saying, wait, she's not too clear as yet. She really needs to have a clear definition of what she really wants and then hold to that clear definition. Because even again, it is because we have topics such as these, you recognize that, there are some unconscious beliefs that I am still holding to. And that is why I am having a lot of reoccurring patterns right now. So even for us, we really have to do a lot of self-reflection as well. And you see, this topic would make you realize that, I need to work on this. I might need to let go of this. This is not working best for me right now. And approach it free. You know what you want because you have become what you want. And once you have become what you want, then the universe, remember as well, for those who are in the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sessions, you would see your reflection. But as of right now, if you are not seeing your reflection, you probably really need to work on your clarity. Yes, Catherine, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes. When Lisa said trust, it was like yeah, boy. Because you really, I know for me, I literally have to talk to myself every single time the possibility that somebody would be looking in my direction. There's a kind of tightening of the chest, and you have to literally, as so many born again Christians would say, you have to rebuke it, because you realize you still have some things there. And the more painful the past experiences were, or the more painful you took them to be, you find that there's this little sliver of doubt, little disbelief. And just that little sliver puts whatever we're looking for away from us. And even though we learned it, we heard it, we discussed it, we should know it, we should apply it, it still sits there like a little, like the edge of a bed where you just knock your toe. And so for me, is to really apply trust, but to remember that the trust is not trusting somebody else. It's to trust yourself enough to know that, as you said, Adana, if you're clear, you are really attracting you. But if you're not clear, you will attract the old you or the existing you if you haven't made the switch. And that is a little frightening, because then you remember the past. You remember there's no neutrality there at that point in time at all. You forget to be neutral.
Let me just interject in terms of, okay, yes, you might meet somebody new and okay, something starts to go off tilt, right? Yes, something starts to go off tilt. Are you not better equipped to deal with it now?
Yes.
So what could go off tilt?
But that is the issue, because I will speak for myself, because I don't think I have fully implemented the toolkit. And so the energy is not clear.
The energy is
You
not.
see, the energy is not clear. It is not going out with clarity. Because you know you want this, and then there's a kind of a laziness factor. I remember when I was much younger, and I would look back and say, I never went anywhere to meet anybody. I went to work and I met people along the way. Whether I went to a course and I met people, or somebody I met, they came to my office and I met the person. So now the kind of laziness kind of stepped in. So that extra thing about having to go out, I have to force myself to go out. And I would think, but I never had to go out before and whatnot. So the energy isn't clear.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for me.
Yeah.
So this is what I am working on, and to know that it's going to be okay.
It is going to.
You don't want to go back in the pain and the whatnot, but taking the tools and applying the tools, you know that, okay, everything happen for your best. Tell yourself that. Even if you don't believe it, just tell yourself enough times that it will work. It will work its way into your system. Because you're not really getting the result you want.
Mm-hmm. But I think the most important thing that we tend to forget is we are not functioning from the same space.
True.
At all. You are not functioning from the same space. You do not even carry the same energy. You are equipped with a lot of tools to handle a lot of different situations and circumstances now. The only issue is that you are holding to the past experiences, the energy that came with the past experiences. So because of it, you have a lot of reoccurring patterns. So that is what you really have to examine. Yes, Nicole, I know you had your hand raised for a little while. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to share two things when Anastasia spoke earlier about the friend that she had, and they said that you would meet people along the way, but it's you identifying, because that was one of the things with me in terms of you're changing your pattern and identifying certain things. And I found that it was going back in the same pattern, and I had to identify that you have to be intentional about what you want. And if you meet somebody and you realize that this person don't align with what you want, you have to cut it off, because you would meet people along the way. So it's not a matter of just shutting yourself out and saying, well, when this one person come, you meet people, and then once you know what you want, you all align. If not, you keep it moving and you keep it pushing as one. And then the next thing you're talking about, when you're talking about being present just now, that is important, because yesterday I went another 5K, and on the run, well, two, I'm not sure if they're couples, they look like a couple, but I saw two different sets. And the boy encouraging the girl, because I trying to get better in terms of my time and managing the running and the walking and all of that. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, I would like to experience this. Right, so I was like, I can't wait to get my boo so we could do 5K runs and be running like this, because the boy looked like he good at it, and he really kind of slow down to encourage the girl. So I continue my walk and you're doing your thing or whatever. And then when I almost, well, for those in Trinidad, because the run was in Piaco, so we ran through Oropun. So when I got to the gas station by the airport there, as I was running back out, normally it's me, and it's normally about 5 of us would go, but yesterday was just 3 of us went. So my friend, he is reaching early. I see him running, coming back. Hear me, were you coming back? You coming back for us? So apparently he was coming back for us. And in the moment he came back and he ran way back out with me back to the finish line. I mean, I complain, but I say all of that to say in the moment I complain, and I was like, Nicole, I just asked for this about 20 minutes ago. It may not be a significant other, but you ask for somebody to run with you, to keep your company and encourage you.
Yeah.
As you go along. So sometimes it's a matter of, in being present, you appreciate the experience, because until the person come, you would meet people, you go out, you laugh, you would talk. So because sometimes I would find myself, but yeah, you is not the person, but Nicola, you're enjoying yourself. So enjoy yourself, enjoy the experience until the person, whoever they may be, come along. So it's important to stay present, because we could kind of tell the universe, oh, well, I am grateful when you just asked for this 20 minutes ago and I gave it to you. Right, next time be more specific and say which you boo. But this is what you asked for.
Yeah. And you see, that is where clarity, because we tend to have clarity with the simple things. And you see, in that instant, things come a lot quickly, but even with the things that we consider to be very intricate, you really need to also have clarity with it. So even for this week, you have some things to really think about and to do some self-reflection, and also some letting go and releasing, so that you can really make room. Because again, as we learned during the week, something has to fill that space, and it is usually something that you do not want. So being clear is very, very, very important. And you see, because of that, you recognize that you develop emotional habits. And the emotional habits that you develop will now influence the relationships and opportunities that you attract. So you recognize how, in terms of holding to that energy, holding to that pattern, you are affecting the relationships and the opportunities that you are attracting. And again, that filters into now the connection between identity, expectation, and again, the life experiences that you're attracting again. So now, this might be part, and we spoke of the feelings and emotions, where the feeling happens 90 seconds. No, sorry. Yes, the feeling. And sometimes we hold the emotion for so long that certain things becomes part of our identity now, and it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be. And you see, you can really look at this as a kind of decluttering of yourself. What is not required? What are you holding to? And really, you just declutter rooms, but it might be time to declutter you. What are some of the patterns that you're holding to that are not necessary moving forward? And again, one strategy, but before I move on, let me, I know Katrin have her hand raised.
I was going to, when Nicola spoke, I was going to say that sometimes the universe combines more than one thing for you, in that you're asking for A, but you forgot that you had also asked for R. And in your mind, they're not connected. But when the opportunity presents itself, sometimes quite a few things are connected in there that you had asked for at different times. And it's only afterwards you realize it, because I was going to Tobago. And I remember getting dressed and I'm laughing to myself and I'm saying, Papa God, remember me, eh? I'm going to Tobago and I'm going early and I don't want to sit in the airport, just one boring time in the airport. So here's how it's going to happen. A nice gentleman is going to walk past me and I'm going to walk past him. He's going to turn around and say, what a lovely lady. And I too will turn around and smile, and I will get his number and he will get my number and we'll chat. Good. I laughed my way all the way through. I got dressed, I got to the airport. But months before, you'll always hear me talk about there was something I was tossing up within myself. And when I finally faced myself on that issue, I say, okay, I have not died. I will be honest with myself and face that this is an experience I would have liked to have had. And lo and behold, what should I see when I get to the airport? I get in the check-in line and I lean a little bit to my right. You're looking to see who keeping up the line, because the line moving kind of slow coming out of the x-ray machine. And there is the very individual. I had to rub my eye to see if it's the same person I'm seeing. That I always said, I would have liked to have the opportunity to sit and chat with this person. And so they clear, say, what? You're on the same flight as me? Look at that. And so we ended up in the airport. He saw me, I saw him, and we laughed, and we chatted the entire hour and something, because we had gone to the airport really, really early. about this, about that. We laugh, and next time it's time to board. We were not sitting next to one another, and he was looking back for me, I was looking back. But it was afterwards I said, you got the two things that you had asked about. Now, you didn't get it the way you wanted to get, because this is not a nice gentleman that would walk past you and you would walk past, and something would begin. But it closed something that needed closing, and it presented the opportunity that I had asked about. Well, I guess everything's a request. I had asked about months before, when I settled into being truthful with myself. And a grand time was had at the airport. In fact, it was so good that when we got to the airport, on the other side, our car wasn't there. The car that was supposed to be there for us wasn't there. And this guy had a car, and he was able to take us to where we would go and pick up our car. So, as they would say, all's well that ends well. And so sometimes the universe stores things and puts them in the order that the universe wants to put them in, not in our order.
Based on
Not in our
your
order.
clarity, but it's still based on your
Yeah.
clarity. Yep.
Yeah.
And again, you were just clear. You made it fun. It was lighthearted. There was no heavy expectations.
Yeah.
Just no nothing. And you see within it, look at how quickly you got the return on it. You understand? And that is just to
Yeah.
show the difference as it relates to, the things that you really want and the patterns that you are stuck within. And one practical strategy that you could use for interrupting destructive cycles and creating healthier patterns is the stop. Let me just share my screen with you. So, this is it. The stop method. I'm not sure if any one of you saw this or heard of it, but we posted it a while ago. And with the stop method, whenever you feel overwhelmed, so you're remembering the word STOP. So the S stands for stop, the T stands for take 3 slow breaths, the O stands for observe your thoughts, emotions without judgment, and the P stands for proceed with intention rather than impulse. Because a lot of times, because of impulse, based on patterns, based on past experiences, that is why we are impulsive instead of being intentional. So let me repeat it again. First, you stop. Then you take 3 slow breaths. So we could practice it now. Everyone, are you all there? Are you alert? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so everyone stop what you're doing. Even if you're cooking, even if you're watching TV, you're lying on your bed, bring yourself to the present moment. So we are taking 3 slow breaths in. So starting on 1, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in again on 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 1, 2, 3, and 4. And even with that, do you now find that you are more present, you are more neutral, you are more alert before you proceed? So within this moment, you are now observing your thoughts, you are observing your emotions without any judgment. So if you're vexed, you're vexed. If you're angry, you're angry. If you're sad, you're sad. And if you're feeling the cuss, you're feeling the cuss. So you are observing it without any judgment. Even within whatever you might be feeling or whatever thoughts you might have, at the end of the day, what is your intention? It is not about your impulse. It is about the intention. And it is with the intention, that is what we are holding to. in order to ensure that we take the best step moving forward. Because you see, growth is really measured by how often you find your way back to yourself. And a lot of times we are unable to find our way back to ourselves. So sometimes you find your way back to 2020 when it was COVID and you start to relive a set of things, or you find yourself back to when you were a child and you start to relive a set of patterns and stuff, but that is not required. What is the intention in the moment? So even as you are experiencing whatever you might be experiencing, remember to stop and practice. Stopping is very important. Stopping allows you to remember what the intention is. Even with Nicola on the run, and she was able to stop and remember, listen, this is what I asked for. Let me stop complaining.
No,
Let me
no, no.
stop
I,
complaining.
I realized it just now and a little later on in the day. But during the run, I did not realize it then. But after later, I think when I got up yesterday evening, I really said thanks for the pusher because I really think. And then as I was talking just now, I realized, but Nicola, that is what you asked
That
for
is what you asked for.
earlier on. So be grateful. No, he was telling me run for my trolley because his mother
Yeah.
was a trolley, run for your trolley. I said, there's no real food, you know. There's a piece of metal, but that is not encouragement to run. But yeah, we got it done, and I was grateful that I got the help.
Yes. And
It
you
made
guys,
me
you could see how fast you get things, how quickly things manifest and materialize. Once you are clear, you do it lighthearted without any sort of weight. How quickly it materializes. So practice it this week. Practice it this week. Have clear intentions. Tell the universe what you want and practice it. So this could be a practice. So you have homework.
and,
So
and, and that's
next week,
another
Monday.
thing too.
Uh-huh.
Is another thing about being clear because he don't usually come back for anybody on any of the runs. This is the first time he came back for us. So it was really about being clear and what you really want because it was our first experience. Normally he would sit and wait for us in the race village whenever we get back.
Yeah. So that is a little practice for you this week. Practice being clear on what you want this week. Just practice it a little bit and then see what happens. You might even shock yourself because within that, you would recognize that intentional awareness would help you build a future that no longer repeats the past. So that is why it is really important. Let me read it again. Intentional awareness helps you build a future that no longer repeats the past. So within that, remember you're building something new. So even if it is a person and it is a new experience or a new relationship with a person, even if it doesn't work out, okay, you learn from the experience because that is what we're learning now. So you holding on to the pain that you think you might feel, you mightn't even feel half of that pain even if there is pain to come, because now you're functioning from a different space with a different awareness. Okay, lesson learned, and then you're moving on to the next thing. Yes, Anastasia?
No, I just remember a little joke. It about a Julie mango tree that I normally pass by. And I remember someday last week passing by. And I remember us talking about say what you want. And I passed, and this is the last Julie mango on the tree. Yeah, man. I want that Julie mango tree. I want that Julie mango to drop on the ground so I could get it. I passed and nothing in drop. Yeah, man. How done and them just get these things to happen for them and it's not happening for me, boy. That was my joke between myself and the mango tree.
Don't worry. It might start like that, but eventually it becomes, once the more you practice it, the more it comes. I am telling you, the more you practice it, trust me, it is going to show up in your life. Just ensure that you are clear. I've had many, you have many experiences, but yet when it's time to tell the experience, your mind just go blank, yeah?
Mhm.
I have a lot of experiences with it where I even remember once I had to get something sewn and I was, the thought come, go to this particular place, you would spend, I think it was $50 a yard for the clothes. So I went to the particular place and I was like, I not see nothing and I don't know what all you sent me here for. Looking, finally saw something I like. But it was 30 something dollars. So I say, get it on sale. So I get excited. So I told the person coming, I want 2 yards of this. And she was like, this is $50 a yard. Eh? I was like, okay. So after that, I had to go get something. And I think I had to pass by Price Mart. And when I went to Price Mart, who did I see leaving Price Mart? My seamstress. So I ran back downstairs, gave her the cloth. And I've had so many of these kind of experiences where you really, once you become clear, even you don't even have to speak what you want. And the thought would come as the way to get it. And trust, when you go to that space, that item is right there. Most of the times it's on sale. Most of the times it's the last one, the last two. But it is really something Anastasia continue to practice. You might think that you try it once and it doesn't work, or you try it, but continue. I am telling you, once you start to practice it, it is going to start to turn around for you. And once you even have the thought of your wonders before you can even finish it, you know where to go and get it. Yes, Catherine, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
I was saying that the being clear about what you want is one thing, but you have to let it go.
Yes.
When we do let it go, then it cannot go anywhere because we're so attached to it. We just strangling it. And it's fearful to think of letting it go, but we don't realize that we didn't let it go. That we want something and then we want it, and we want it the way we want it. And we want it when we want it, because particularly when you get to a certain age category, you start to look at time now. Time, and the time and the time and the time. And so for me, I know sometimes I have to calm myself down and say, okay, fine. There are certain things that you know already. You know this is there for you already. You know that you have to be what you want to attract. You know all these different things. Your toolkit is overflowing with techniques and tools and tips and everything. What is missing? You're not letting it go. And many times, even the example in the airport, I said it in fun, getting dressed, and I just went away and you just let it go. And boom, there it is. Nicola, you said what you had to say, and you just let it go. You didn't dwell on it. And, oh God, nobody can come and look at me. And you look at the couple, you saw, the thought came, you say, oh, that'd be nice. And you let it go. So I think the other part about being very clear about what you want is when you're clear about what you want, let it go.
Yes.
Let it go.
Definitely. Anastasia?
Catherine, you are so correct. Because while Adana was talking, I am hearing it works for them because they just say it and they don't hold on to it and have no expectation. They didn't add in, they're not taking away, they're just saying what they have to say and they're moving along and letting the universe do the work. But with
And
me,
they're not using the mango tree.
yeah, so I saying it, but I watching and I feel somehow or the other I have a little kind of intense feeling, oh God, boy, I wonder if it'll fall, boy. I wish it will fall, boy. And as Adana was talking, I realized, so that is it. You say it and you keep moving. The outcome is not yours. You let it go. So what you're saying is very correct.
Mm-hmm. And you see, you do it free without any weight, without anything, and you practice it. And then you would recognize what this thing really working, and it really does work. Because even when it was Saturday morning when I got up, and I kept hearing go, because the room next to mine is the room that my sister was in, and we repainted it recently, trying to get ahead of all the Christmas stuff. And something kept saying, Adana, just go and start. And I'm like, I don't want to go in there to clean up nothing. I do not want to do that. So I finished some work that I had to do early Saturday morning, and I just proceeded to walk into the room. And it was quick and, tidy it quickly. Daddy came, we moved the bed around, washed the sheets and stuff. Then the evening now, my nephew came. And well, I wasn't there because I was like, listen, this is my new office because the room clean, clear. I say, okay, fine. Then my nephew came and he was lying down next to me. He put on the TV, he was watching movies and stuff. So by the time I had finished my work as well, he stayed. He made up the bed. He went and get all kind of little things. So right now he is very comfortable in there by himself, watching TV and having a grand time. He is not even sleeping in his own room in his mother's house. Usually when he was here, he would sleep next to my father. Right now, my father got the boot. My nephew is not interested in him anymore. So you see, a lot of times again, we really have to break the pattern because if I had decided I'm not going and do that, let me just move and go to do something else. And you see, and in doing that, you keep attracting the same experiences. You don't know. Sometimes in life, you do not know. You spend the energy doing something, it could be practice for something else. So really, once you're clear, and again, once the thought comes, please follow. Let us practice obedience a little bit more as well. Please work through the feeling, even if you do not feel like doing it. Work through the feeling, work through the feeling, work through the feeling, because you never know. And guys, please remember the stop method throughout your day, throughout this week. As you continue to practice, if you start to feel overwhelmed or angry, remember to stop. Take your deep breaths, observe your thoughts, observe your feelings, observe the emotion, and then proceed. Remember what your intention is. Remember, intention is very, very important. So, let me let you all know what we have coming up for this week at the Balance Center. So this evening we discussed stop attracting the same experiences. And tomorrow from 10 we have counseling and consultations. And from 6 we will be looking at healing the self that continues to leak. Separating who you are from what happened to you. So I hope that you all will be there because this would be a very interesting session. Then from 7 we have the Fuel and Flex full body workout sessions. On Wednesday from 10 we have counseling and consultations. Then from 6 we would be looking at aligning identity, thoughts and behavior. You cannot receive what your identity continually rejects. On Thursday from 10 we have counseling and consultations. Then from 6 we would be looking at becoming the environment you seek. Intentionally build the life that naturally attracts the best. And from 7, we have our Fuel and Flex full body workout session. On Friday at 10 a.m., we have a private yoga and meditation. Then from 3, we have Free to Be, where we release, relax, restore, and unwind. On Saturday from 10, we have counseling and consultations, youth and adult. And then from 3 p.m., we are closed. Also, we have our hike to Maracas Waterfall coming up. And for those who are not interested in hikes, we also have another activity coming up that would not be a hike. So you would get more details about that soon. So on Saturday, the 22nd of August, we would be hiking to the Maracas Waterfall. The difficulty level is very low, so it's a 3 out of 10. Adults 100, kids 60. So you can WhatsApp us. Hike to 336-1809 to register. And I would just like to let you all know about the Genius Goals Challenge and the Genius Goals question for this week. So for this week, the questions are, if the same experiences keep appearing in different forms, what might life be asking you to see, change, or become? What do you believe about yourself that may be influencing the experiences you continue to have? So with this, you have to do some internal reflection. Are you responding to situations based on who you are today or who you were in the past? How might your emotional habits influence the people and opportunities you allow into your life? What do you unconsciously expect from people, relationships, work, and life? Are your expectations based on possibility or past experience? And lastly, what patterns are you ready to stop repeating, and what will you do differently the next time it appears? So for those doing the Genius Goals question, and even if you're not doing the Genius Goals question, it is a very good self-reflection for you. You know, because you're recognizing now you are able to keep things in mind, you are able to remember certain things, but in order to continue practicing it, you could do the questions as well. Mr. SGL, are you there?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, and how have you been? I know you and your family experiencing a little difficulty right now. How are you all?
I'm okay. I'm getting by. I'm navigating, and like I said, there's a degree of sadness, but it's not like, oh, look at me type of thing. You know, you lost, and I take it as that, and I still have peace. And it's something you said earlier, that when you ask for something or you want something, you ask for it and then you wait, right? And that's what I did with my sister. I prayed. I'm a believer. I prayed and I asked for life. I asked for health, and I asked for God's will. And God's will happened to be adverse to what I would have desired, but I'm still accepting. But it is a journey. I'm not rushing one way or another. I'm allowing myself to go through it at its own pace, and
Yes.
so it is. It
Yeah.
is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see, that
First.
is what it is, because even when I was experiencing loss as well, what happened and what I used to do is when the feeling came, because you would be good and then you would have a overwhelming, a lot of different feelings and emotions. So when it did happen, I would allow it to be. I would just sit in it.
Right. Right.
So I would sit still in it, feel it, and then allow it to pass.
Yep. Yep. Not rushing through it, just accepting it, and
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Anger. I have no hate, no bitterness. It just is.
Yes.
So yeah.
Understood.
Thank you, though. It's good to
You
be
are
here.
most welcome, and remember that if you require any further support, we are here. We are always here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Have a mindful, I know I say this all the time, but this week especially, you all have things to practice. You have things to practice. You also have to remember to stop. And you also have to do a little reflection. And you would come back with your results. So this is like a test week. So test, and then we would come back with the results. And I know that your results would be favorable indeed. So guys, have a wonderful night. Have a mindful week. See some of you tomorrow. See the rest of you next week, Monday. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.